check the audio. Oh, echo. Hello. Probably going to be fewer people here today. Most people probably on vacation-ish. I don't know. You never know. Never know with these things. If you guys want me to look anything or talk about anything, just shout her out in the chatteroony. I have a list of some stuff people were asking me about, so we'll talk about that. Talk about the usual fun stuff. Lots of legacy discussions with volume right now on the miners, on coin. There's just a lot of euphoria, which is good. You know, it's funny, the miners were basically left for dead end of last year. What a difference a year makes. What a difference a year makes. I mean, I guess we can start with this. If it's been so rainy. There's not any leaf blowers. We're blessed. We're hashtag blessed with the lack of leaf blowers right now. Going to get a full body massage today, says Rojogan. Interesting. Masky GC, hello, beautiful people. DXY, that's important. I actually saw RRP today. Let me just get rid of that so we can have more screen space. The reverse repo is coming back up. So, you know, that's the opposite of a liquidity injection. Now, mind you, it's next to nothing, but if this has bottomed, it's too early to tell if it's bottomed in the near term, but it's stopped going down. So this was liquidity injection. We've now hit a potential inflection point, maybe a potential inflection point in DXY. All that is relevant because if we're headed in the opposite direction on that stuff, then we probably are more bearish. We have a headwind. Trying to find where last night someone asked about the liquidity picture. Here it is. This is from Ardini researched central bank liquidity. It doesn't give you all the important data points, but it gives you a pretty good picture of what the global central banks are doing. And across the board, there's been reductions, you know, but really it's the PBOC here. If we look at the this graph, kind of says it all. PBOC in won terms at all-time high. BOJ also looks to be at all-time high. Fed and the ECB trying to let stuff roll off the balance sheet. That's just balance sheet though. That's not everything. This is maybe, no, where was that other one? There was one more on here that I liked. This one. Total assets of all central banks relative to the S&P. And, you know, if you follow the cyclical liquidity thing, are we at a nadir? Are we at a natural bottom here on liquidity relative to all the elections coming up? Something to think about into 2024. What the liquidity picture looks like. Do we get stimulus more than we already have in various degrees? You know, the military-industrial complex stimulus seems to be never ending. So that's good for those states and those people and those industries in the United States. It is what it is, right? But the global liquidity looks to have bottomed, which is bullish for us. The reverse repo in the United States looks to have bottomed, which may be bearish. You know, so there's a lot of like little knobs and twists and turns that we can hop around and watch into next year. There's going to be so many headlines I can't even my head is spinning. You've got the GOX stuff still, which people are completely misinformed on. You've got the ETFs, which are people are completely misinformed on. They think they won't happen. They think they won't hold BTC. What else? They think BlackRock's going to destroy Bitcoin. I guess I'd rather see people misinforming than everyone just cheerleading and saying yes to the moon. It says, sentiment-wise, we're not at the top yet, at least for the ETF stuff. Then we've got Celsius and FTX bankruptcies. We've got, what else? All the other bankrupt companies selling their Bitcoin. Sailor buying, Tether buying, GBTC unlock. So it's just going to be a lot of stuff in January even. So the trick is to not explode in January. Embrace the volatility, expect the volatility. And like I said in one of the videos this week, don't do anything that is going to cost you your entire stack, trading some mega leveraged position. It looks to me like the Solana stuff has cooled off. The Solana bros are getting very combative on the forums, the public forums, on the X's and on the Discords. So that's usually a great sign for some pullback. So, I think that apple has been picked from the tree in the moment. What more do you want? This is all the assets just randomly stacked up against each other. The AVAX stuff looks to be done for now. The Mara stuff may have cooled off. Maybe cooling off. We'll see if that lasts until the ETF stuff. There's just going to be a lot of news catalysts that I do not like playing. I've never been a fan of playing news catalysts. They feel like a giant coin flip to me. Favorite dinosaur? Bronchiosaurus. I just feel like I don't have an edge there. I know what I think the market's going to do, but ultimately the market's going to do what the market's going to do. And all this stuff is already up. Coin is up 450% on the year. And there's people kind of asking, like, how much more will we see? It makes sense if we see a pullback first, to me, across the board on everything. Not that I'm rooting for bearishness or that I'm bearish. It's just, that's the logical thing here. That's the next step, I would think, on some of this stuff. So you just got to be careful with, rotating, and then kind of getting destroyed on the late rotations because you're not really reading the vibes of what's about to happen or what's going on. What's up, Mateo? Miner's kind of deeply red today. You guys can't really see that probably because of my face, but Sol pulling back probably the most, other than INJ, IMX. Stuff kind of all over the board. I guess we'll start with Legacy because I kind of already have, but the S&P just feels like it's trying to will itself into an all-time high, which is never a good thing. Talked about the DXY yesterday, in that it has a huge bearish channel, multi-month bearish channel, also at risk for bottoming around the $100 psychological level. Another thing I don't like is going into the new year kind of at the top of a roller coaster at this parabolic move on risk assets. Historically, Q1 has not been kind to Bitcoin. Q1 historically is flat. Q1 is bearish. Q1 is profit-taking territory historically. Not saying that we've topped. I'm just saying, look, seasonality says we've probably topped or we're getting close. The ETF approval, here's something else to think about. Do you think that news is going to be a topping moment for the quarter? I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be a very interesting day, for sure. Very interesting day. But what you don't want to see is the DXY reverse, because that becomes a headwind. And we can still party on with the crypto thing, even though DXY is bullish, but it's been, how many weeks is this now? I mean, it's getting to the point where it's just like, yeah, of course this thing's going to reverse, right? Just a crazy down move. Arguably a crazier up move. I mean, we had, what was that, 10 weeks in a row on the way up? Just kind of a bizarre, super unnatural chart, honestly. This is not like organic, about what you'd expect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, almost 12 green weeks. So it makes sense that that's coming down a bit. Ultimately, though, 100 is the level. So DXY is bearish for the moment, but I just don't know how much more is left on the bear side. And then, you know, the S&P, of course, even if you don't trade this, you just have to know what's going on. This is working on its 10th week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, this will be the 10th week. Likely will close green, maybe all-time high, but this is, I mean, this is not where you want to be generally pushing into an all-time high. I don't think this is a short. I'm not bearish. It's just, right, like, what's your probability here? You know, another 10 weeks of green? Probably not. Another 5 weeks? Probably not. Another week or two? Maybe. But we're going to get a down week eventually. You know, that's going to come. And we're going to feel that on the crypto side. You could argue crypto is kind of foreshadowing some bearishness already. But throughout the year, I like highs easily. It's just, you know, how much higher can we really go? Do we hit an all-time high and then just sell off? I don't know. I just get very nervous for crypto looking at this, looking at DXY. Now Q's, the NASDAQ has already hit its all-time high. You know, then the next obvious question is, okay, where does this pull back? I think this could pull back to 380 on the Qs. I think with the yearly pivot, which is going to be a new yearly pivot in January, 4,600. The bears are going to celebrate again, but you know, I think after that we can go on our merry way. It's just, we don't need additional reasons to be bearish going into a news catalyst that people already think is a buy the rumor, sell the news. That'll only fuel all of this. You know, we don't need Gox coins being unlocked the same week. That it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like 3 to 6 months from now, all this is going to be a blip. But January could get very, very interesting. And on the alt side, I mean, that means like 25 to 50% pullbacks, like absolute craziness. If this does get bearish, that's easily where alts could go. I mean, they've been running so hot for so long. This is another look at RRP again. And just worth paying attention to because it's really helped bring prices higher as reverse repo has been draining. So the legacy stuff makes me nervous for sure. It makes me bring down the leverage, bring down the position sizing, just be ready for a pullback into January. Then you've got like tax stuff, which I'm ready to sell January 1st or January 3rd. I'm ready to sell my GBTC position, my other positions, maybe rotate those into BITO before the ETF approval, and then sell on the day. So I assume most people are going to be doing that. Kathy has already done so. She already rotated all of her GBTC into the BTC futures ETF. Something else people have been incorrectly talking about on Twitter. What's up, Joey? What was I going to go to? Mag 7 real quick, because I know a lot of people, it's funny what people want to look at. Like they want to look at coin, they want to look at Tesla, they want to look at the miners, which makes sense now. But you know, the Mag 7 is most of what the indices are made up of on the top end as a percentage. Apple, I don't really see anything screaming at me. I think that watch news is probably not so great for them. You could argue cup and handle here. This doesn't look bearish, but it does look ready for a pullback for sure. Microsoft looks fine. Again, none of these charts are like screaming breakout, screaming massive entry. None of this. This is an all-time high for Microsoft, by the way. You're seeing TKC clamps. You're seeing kind of tired trends up here. NVIDIA looks... How does NVIDIA look? What is this? Is this a... It's so many things, honestly. It's like... It's a megaphone. It's a diamond top. It's a head and shoulders. It's very noisy, but does still lean bullish. I don't think you can short this. And if you're rooting for crypto, you have to root for the Mag 7 because, again, that's most of the market. Root for Mag 7, root for IWM, root for all of this stuff because that is rooting. You're rooting for yourself, even if you don't believe in the NVIDIA valuations or whatever. I don't know. This thing is, if you can't pull up a chart and immediately take 10 seconds or less to figure out what the hell's going on here, usually not a good sign. I would probably argue diamond top. But is it shortable? No, because it's mania, Anyway, I don't know. That one's a bit of a mystery. That's why I like the cloud. The cloud just kind of distills it down and says, nope, we're above the daily cloud. You're still good. You're fine. Looks fine. Bullish continuation until proven otherwise. And then the yearly pivots don't really help you up here either because they're all prices everywhere. Anyway, it'll be interesting if we get a pullback and NVIDIA closes this gap and Microsoft goes to like 350, 340, something like that on the cloud. Google, again, it's like, what is this, right? Mega chop. Still bullish, but mega chop, not at all-time highs quite yet. Looks okay. Doesn't excite me, but it looks okay. And then there's Tesla, which admittedly, you've got people seeing head and shoulders here. You've got people like a mega head and shoulders. You've got people seeing cup and handle. You've got people seeing inverted head and shoulders here from May to present. Head and shoulders from September 2020 to present. That's May 2022 to present on the inverted head and shoulders. Again, that's why I like the cloud because it kind of distills it all down. It says this is trying to be bullish. It's trying to get above the weekly cloud. It broke down from that, whatever this was, didn't quite make it below the weekly cloud. I don't know. This just looks not like anything I would ever trade. It's just way too unsure of itself. And even maybe this whole thing is, right, a diamond as well. If it is, it's breaking up. But just, I just think there's better things to trade. I know a lot of people are throwing money at Tesla still. Meta. Looks okay. Again, like it's bullish. Yes. Is there a bear div? Yes. This probably goes higher eventually. It looks good. It looks better than the others. But, I don't know. Again, nothing like screaming at me where there's like some reversal trade. Netflix also does look good. Can't argue that. It's above the weekly cloud. It's still kind of range bound ugliness. Pretty crazy run over the past 2 years after that post-COVID drop. Just crazy chart. The chart I like the most out of the Mag 7 still is Amazon. I still think this is easily the best setup, easily the best trade based on TA. You've got a weekly Kumo breakout, you've got a weekly Kumo twist. Yes, you're overbought. You're above the weekly 200 up here. You're above the yearly pivot up here. I think this is a great inverted head and shoulders candidate. It is probably going to fight like hell at around 170 based on the range previously there, but to me, of all of the Mag 7, this is the best trade still. This looks great to me. 4 highs for sure. Do you think Mag 7 will perform amazingly? I don't know if they'll perform amazingly. You know, it's usually down the most, up, sorry, down the worst, up the most. You know, look at Solana. Look at, back to this Netflix chart. Like, this is a crazy move for a equity, right? 77% from the highs. You know, they give us crap on the crypto side for volatility. And here you got Netflix just making round trip after round trip, you know, like, and it helps that it was down the most, right? It helps that it had some sort of capitulatory move. I'm sure volume, yeah, look at that volume, right? Crazy volume spike on that week. Anyway, so I think a lot of the Mag 7 is going to do well, but not perform crazily next year. I still like Amazon over all those other charts. Goku, what's up, Goku? With the super chat asks, do you agree miners do well because of ordinals? Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's like ABC type stuff. You know, 1 + 1 = 2. If the Bitcoin network is getting more transaction fees, then miners do better. If the Bitcoin network has a halving event, miners get paid less and have to hope that the price goes up for the underlying for Bitcoin. Here's a look at ordinals if you have no clue what these are. These are NFTs being minted on Bitcoin. You can have your own personal feelings about this stuff, but it's allowable in the protocol at the moment, and so it will continue. And you can see these massive fee spikes that have really helped miners. I believe it's an all-time high in fees that they made over the past year, certainly, but even on a weekly basis, just crazy, crazy fees. And do I have a problem with it? Not really. Like, let people do what they want to do. If they want to waste their money on NFT garbage that's going to go to zero, sure, right? Whatever. But this is definitely helping the miners, helps the big miners more. All rising tide raises all boats, helps people understand what's going on from a relative value perspective, helps people wake up to some of this stuff and say, okay, like, oh, this is what's important. Oh, hash rate is blah, 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 right? It teaches people what the heck's going on and how these businesses make money. So I think that's super bullish for everybody, regardless of how you feel about this. But something to watch into 2024 is, will this sustain? Will there be another narrative, right? You can see in September, October, where this minting stuff kind of died down. And then there was, you know, this new narrative, this new flywheel effect where you get all these people minting again and then minting another whatever. You know, I'm not deeply embedded in the NFT community, so I'm the last person to ask what this exactly is, but it's definitely helping the miners, and we're seeing that on the mining stonks, not just, let me find a chart I can actually write on, not just because of the fees, but also because of Bitcoin price, right? It's just the big money can't really access Bitcoin spot unless they want GBTC, which they aren't going to really touch because of the discount piece has ended, right? So that trade isn't really great for them. They could go to futures, which is viable, right? They could go to BITO, which is a fine product. They could go to any of the other futures ETFs. The fees are pretty high there. Now they could go to MSTR, right, where the fees are zero, and a lot of people have done that. It's been treated as an ETF. MSTR has been doing fantastic. The question a lot of people are asking is this going to end when the ETF gets launched? You know, do people really want to put up with Saylor? I don't know. I certainly don't. I don't have any MSTR. But the other ways you can get exposure to crypto is through the miners, right? So if we look at Mara, I mean, absolutely wild. It still always amazes me that these targets like work out. You know, I've been here doing TA for a decade. It still amazes me to see this stuff actually play out. If we look at the Head and Shoulders on this, right in the wheelhouse of where you'd expect it to slow down. So the weekly, the 50% move is at 53, but Mara's parabolic move has helped all of the miners move higher, right? So the question a lot of people are asking is like, okay, now what? You know, it's kind of like Solana. Solana didn't quite hit the weekly target. Marathon, on the other hand, down much further than Solana was on the weekly. Let's take a look at the candles. Yeah, down much further. Somebody asked me to turn on volume, which is important, especially now. I mean, look at that volume. Again, when you get this crazy spike in volume, that's usually an interim top or bottom. Still in the weekly cloud, great. Like, you got to realize the broader trend, this is just reversal on all of the coins, all of crypto. This is just bullish reversal. This is not a true bullish trend yet. In a lower time frame sense, it certainly is, but the best bull trends have always happened on the weekly cloud being bullish, right? So as bullish as this has been, the true test isn't until after halving. Like, where could Mara go after halving? That's what you need to be asking yourself, I think, and not like, you know, can this hit 43 in January? Sure, but 43, like, who cares about 43? This could go, you know, I like 250, I like 300. That's still a 10x from here. So I would set myself up for buying more on dips, holding through, like, if you're trading this stuff, right? Not financial advice, but the broader reversal move largely has happened on most of these coins, most of the miners. The next step is what happens in an actual bull market. And if we just look at the fib extensions, yeah, I mean, things could get so wild still. Like, nobody's here. This thing just started. It's going to be a bumpy ride in Q1. I like crazy targets on all this stuff still. So this still looks really good. Even if you want to be conservative and you want to say, okay, what's the move based on the high from November 21 and the low, right? You're still talking 130, 140, 160, 170, whatever it is, right? It's not going to be a straight line, but there's still tons left in the long-term targets for this stuff. But, you know, being the most traded stock yesterday, Marathon was probably not a great sign for bullish continuation after this giant move has largely happened. I just keep that in mind. But a lot of the miners, you know, we can look at WGMI, which is the basket. Look at the volume on WGMI yesterday, or last week, sorry. Let's look at daily volume, just screaming. Just crazy moves. Cloud just as thin and wispy as can be, which just means it's been a parabolic move. The retrace here, like 15. But this whole thing is a inverted head and shoulders. You can see that as well. So I'm still super bullish on the miners based on how the market has reacted. I don't think the miners are bullish as a general stock, right? Like, they're high beta to Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's bearish, they're turbo bearish. But we're moving into bullish season. So that's why miners certainly have done well. And the ordinal stuff is just a surprise. It's a cherry on the cake, right? That just means that the miners do even better. Marathon was already holding, what, like 20,000 BTC? Let me just check real quick. BTCtreasuries.net. Marathon. Sorry, 13,000 BTC. So you got this added bonus, just bonus on top of everything else. Prices are going up. They're getting more fees. Their treasury is enormous, right? Which was terrible in the bear market. Absolutely terrible. But now that that pendulum has swung in the opposite direction, things are looking better again. So yeah, miners just across the board should continue to do well as if the ordinal stuff keeps up, if Bitcoin price keeps up. It's just a matter of, again, you don't want to get demolished on some crazy bet up here, I would think, okay, right? What's the year to date on WGMI percentage wise on the index is 356. Is that right? Yeah, 357. Wild. That's got to be one of the best performing. Marathon 700, Riot 400, Clean Spark 500, Stronghold sort of in the bottom of the pack. But all these are up hundreds of percent this year, which is great. But how much more in the near term, right? Are we really going to get? So you just got to be careful. Got to be careful. What else do I want to talk about with the miners? I don't know. Everything looks good, right? It's just, you know where I bought WGMI was right here, November 28th, something like that. Still holding, right? It's uncommon that we just keep going through the weekly cloud. It's our daily cloud like this. That in and of itself is a miracle, but clearly this is just mega parabolic move. So you just got to be careful because these are like volatility on acid, okay? Because look at this, just straight up, straight down, Eiffel Tower. Anyway, just got to be careful because you could wake up and index could be at 15, marathon could be at 18. You know, that would be a reasonable pullback, which is what? 30% easily without even blinking an eye. If everything turns bearish, right? So you just got to plan for that. But yeah, miners are cooking, obviously. Coin is another one. Funny thing about Coin, right? Again, much like Marathon, it's hit its target on the inverted head and shoulders. It printed another right shoulder after the first inverted head and shoulders and just keeps going. And it's up, 10 weeks in a row, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 weeks. I like 200. I liked 156. I liked 185. I like 214. The crazy part is there's so much selling each day from Kathy because of the way the ARC stuff is balanced. She's selling at a loss, by the way, because she got in way up here. But this hasn't even started. Again, this goes back to the miners conversation. This is just bullish reversal. This is not a bull trend. This hasn't even started. So yeah, this could pull back to 108. This could go from 108 to 4,000. I don't know. But you don't want to get yourself dead and buried before things have started. Like, okay, so maybe you missed this if you did. I know a lot of people caught this and made a ton of money, which is awesome. I have some coin, but not enough. In a true like bull market, 550, 700, sure. I don't even like Coinbase, right? It's just the revenue side from the ETFs, from their layer 2, global exchange build out that they're doing. That's all favorable. We have not seen what this looks like in a bull market yet because they listed at the very top of the last bull market. And there are still so many legacy people who think crypto is a scam. They think all the exchanges are a scam. I mean, I'm going to agree with them on Coinbase, but the fees are insane on Coinbase, by the way, if you've traded there recently. But all that hate is just fueling us each tick higher. So you love to see it. Would I expect much more from Coin in the near term? Again, like, what is this as a percent? 150% in 9 weeks. Do you normally expect more in that case? I mean, you can. We're almost to the weekly cloud at 200. Nice psychological level. Not only have you had Kathy selling, but you've also had a ton of Coinbase executives selling, VCs selling. Like, so there's so much selling, and we're still going up, which is just wild. What's up, Tangles? Anyway, craziness, absolute craziness. Yeah, I hope everybody had a good Christmas or other holidays they may celebrate. Just catching up on chat. Praise the Cloud says, Golshi, I agree. Cloud is great. Yeah, Zcash is not getting an ETF, sorry. Yeah, so maybe to me, that's the only argument for MSTR, as Joey's saying in the chat. The fees are going to be lower, but you have to deal with Sailor. Some people hate Sailor. Some people can't stand the guy. That's going to affect. This is my top, by the way. 2,000. 2,000 would be my top target for MSTR. 2,000 to 2,500. That's going to affect people putting money in to MSTR. I think they'd much rather deal with BlackRock than Sailor. That's just me. It's a paperclip. But the chart looks good. It's still in a crazy trend. It's on the bearish half of the pitchfork. Like, again, that's how crazy this stuff is. It is up, whatever it is up year to date. Let's just look. It is up 360% year to date. On the log scale, the channel, it still hasn't even lived anywhere in the bullish side of this channel yet. Just wild. I don't know. Super excited for 2024. Just got to live through the pullback first. Anyway, that's MSTR, coin, miners. I guess we can talk about GBTC real quick. Again, I think for most people at this point, the trade is just over. The discount has closed. The cloud is telling you it's over. We're way above the weekly cloud. Yes, we flipped bullish, which is great. I would just be careful up here. You know, I don't want to tell people what to do. Not financial advice, but at this point, again, I just think this trade is done, right? The discount's largely closed, and the TA may be favorable, but until this thing actually converts and we see what all the fees are for all these products, you know, then we'll be able to tell, oh, you know, this one is best, blah, blah, blah. We still have to deal with the unlock for GBTC, and that's 600,000 BTC. Not all that's going to hit the market, not all that's going to get sold, but some of it will, certainly. Some of it definitely will. Anyway, Square continues to just print money. Looks great. Would love to get more on any pullback. Looks amazing. Looks really, really good. It's crypto adjacent, so it should continue to do well through the bull market. Again, it hasn't, you know, it's crazy to say this because all this stuff is up 9-10 weeks in a row, but it hasn't really started to actually be a bull market, right? The stuff we saw in 2020 probably won't happen again in that fashion, but the bull market hasn't started for a lot of this stuff yet. What else before we get off of legacy? Maybe Hood? Hood also crypto adjacent. Looks great from a TA perspective. 46 would be the level, which is a crazy multiple from here. This is where stuff happens, right? This is GME, this is AMC, this is Link, this is any multi-year range we've had. If the bull market is truly back, this should easily go to 46. Not even necessarily because retail is trading. Retail doesn't have any money, but it's more or less a relative value thing. So sure. Do I have this on my, let me add it to my watch list. Call that white coffee and call that an inverted head and shoulders. I don't know. Looks good. Looks good. Bounce back to ETH for a second. A lot of people talking about this. Now the discount on ETH is greater than GBTC, but also it's down like 50% on the discount. That's closed. ETH spot isn't doing so well. It's kind of up to the rest of the market, right? Does this hit 26? Probably eventually. I just don't think it does it on its own. It hasn't really had much of a reason to continue. The spot side certainly hasn't helped that. All right, so that's legacy. Oil's down today. That's good. Let's take a look real quick. Oil's down. Yeah, I already looked at that. TLT. Crazy bounce there. All right, let's look at crypto stuff. Should we start with ETH and Sol? Might as well. ETH. So the only thing I like about ETH in the low time frames right now is, it's substantial. Not that. Where's my... Gotta find the ETH chart that I made somewhere. Is it here? Whatever. We'll use Bitstamp. So I like that ETH is trying to hold above the 8-hour cloud. I like that there was finally some volume coming in yesterday. But mostly I like that there's very clearly an inverted head and shoulders here. I like that it broke up. I like that there's some potential retracement to the neckline. I'd love to add to the position at 23.30. This looks really good to me. If ETH is going to move, it's got to do it between now and the ETF stuff, which is what, like 15 days max? And then everything pulls back probably and then figures stuff out. But this could have a nice move before then. It's set up for it. 2,500 would be the target-ish. The weekly cloud, that stuff is still there. You've been blessed watching the Solana edge-to-edge play out. You've been blessed watching the Bitcoin edge-to-edge play out. That's super rare that it happens that quick. The ETF news stuff has helped that, but this is the normal path. The normal path is just like agony, right? We can look at even 2020. It took a long time, and this is not bad, right? So I don't think this trade isn't going to happen. It's just a matter of like when, If we look at this volume, by the way, this is just Bitstamp. Let's look at the index. Volume is still kind of sad, right? But I do like the chart on low time frames. I do like the high time frames. There's no reason not to like this other than the actual fundamentals of the network itself. The fees. If we look at the weekly candles, this is even likely a bullish leaning continuation. Like, it doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look terrible. I know people are... What's up, Ben? People are kind of ho-hum about it because it's ETH and there's shinier stuff going on right now, but I don't think it looks bad at all. Let's look at Sol, then we'll bounce around between all the relative value stuff. So, the problem with Sol is the candle that burns twice as bright burns half as long, right? What more do you want in this chart, right? It's almost there. It almost got to that target. It was percentages away from, okay, we'll say 10%. Not saying it won't hit that target, but keep in mind, this is all reversal stuff, just like the miners. This is not bull trend. Don't confuse it for that. This is reversal. The cloud will pull up quickly into 2024, but this could go to 20. I'm not saying it will. I would love it if it did. 25 actually would be the level. But imagine the smell if this thing goes to 25. I just, if you're still in this expecting another 10x in the next month, I just think that's Probably asking a little much. On the daily cloud, it likes 80 on the retrace. It has held the Tenkin this entire time on the daily, which is at 95. But I would love to see this thing retrace to 80. If we look at the let's just hide this big one for a second. If we look at the little PF, this is a super aggressive angle, which again just tells you how crazy this run has been. I mean, if we take it, no, we don't need to do that. Anyway, bear div on volume, bear div on RSI, I'm sure. Yeah, bear div on RSI on those highs. It makes sense that this is pulling back. I don't think that's concerning to the broader market. Mean reversion makes total sense. I agree, Scott. Anyway, it's just hard to expect more from this without evidence that it has some sort of consolidation, I would think. What else can we look at? Yearly pivots. Boom. Where did it tap? Tap the yearly pivot at 125. Previously, it sort of stalled out at the yearly pivot at 67. So much like that 67 yearly pivot, if we can get another consolidation pattern, sure, yeah, it can keep going. But if this, then that. Yeah, I think that's really it for Sol, right? I was saying maybe on the low time frames, you know, is this a head and shoulders? I don't know, but it's not happy, right? It's like a head and shoulders morphing into a falling wedge. It just doesn't look like that wants to continue right now. And then you've got stuff like this, which of course Coinbase lists this at the very top. That is the nature of the beast. But this chart, as I've said continuously for weeks, I would sell it and not look back ever again. If it goes to 1 million, I wouldn't even sweat it. I mean, this is an angry looking chart, right? Who's in this? It's either retail or whales, and the whales will run you over selling this. I don't know. Is this bottoming? Who knows? But not a happy chart. Not a happy chart by any means. Let's go to the weekly. No. I would just be careful buying any dips on stuff like this because what's the 50%? Oh, it's already below the 50% retracement. That's how crazy. Let's go to regular, right? It's already below the 50%. I don't know what stops this from trying to go lower. So I would anyway, I would just be careful with any of the meme coins because just because they've worked for the past couple of weeks doesn't mean they will continue to work. Anyway, Sol ETH, let's take a look. So we had that head and shoulders at the bottom, great. We hit the all-time high, I think. Basically, we got within a few percentage points, right? Not that there's a ton of trading data here. What if we do this? Yeah, so that's, it basically got there, right? I mean, again, does it make sense to keep going? What's up, Jack? Does it make sense to keep going up here? Realistically, fundamentally, you can be really excited about Solana, but is there a there? I don't know. You tell me. You know my answer. I don't think I have Corona. Hopefully not. So this makes perfect sense that it's sold off. Needs to reconsolidate. Needs to figure its life out. But yeah, and if it's, as Jack is kind of bringing up, if you've made life-changing money, change your life. What are you holding out for? You know, pay your taxes, move on, figure out something else. Because in the moment, the bonk field has been picked by the locusts for sure. So, you know, are people trading this chart? That's my question. I don't think so. I think they're like mentally trading this chart. I tweeted out when I rotated out of Sol. I still have a little bit left, but I bought ETH, I bought BTC. It's not a sustainable move, clearly. So, the bonk phone stuff, mania, was a big sign, obviously. That's Sol ETH. Let's look at ETH BTC because that has had a move that I'm sure people are happy with. Yeah, exactly. You make 10, you want 100. You make 100, you want to add a 0. Like, look, I get it. I've been there. But I don't think we're going to see mega continuation without a mega pullback first. So I do think this goes lower. This is attempting to make a higher high for the first time since the merge. It's at tons of resistance levels. This is ETH BTC. It's at the 200-week moving average, still below the cloud, still below the channel, still below the parabolic down move. Is this setting itself up for an Adam and Eve? Maybe. Is it setting itself up for a inverted head and shoulders? Maybe. But until the ETF stuff shakes out everybody, I want to see what those flows look like. I want to see what this looks like after January. Talk to me in April. Do you think this is going to be higher in April? Now there are people who are hell-bent on being focused on some ETH ETF immediately. I wish those people luck. I don't think this is going to be higher in April. I'm happy to be wrong. I would just be careful assuming this has to go higher. But it is it's a good looking bounce so far on ETH BTC. I just, look, this is a double top, right? Do double tops normally reverse? They can, but they're not flat out bullish. Still a lot of hope in this, by the way. A lot of hope that ETH is going to bounce and blah, blah, blah. Anyway. So I'd be careful, just assuming that this is the bottom. ETH BTC looks like a Wyckoff distribution, another leg up to 0.75. Man, that would trap a ton of people. And net a slow bleed to 0.03. See, I think it's going to have trouble getting to 0.6. But again, let's talk about this after the ETF is here. It's all fun and games until we have actual flows in one side of this equation. Okay, what do we want to talk about next? We just want to run down. People were asking about uni and sushi, and the big trap that people are going to run into here is they're going to see an edge to edge on their favorite alt or some bag that they're holding, and they're just going to assume that that's going to play out. Unfortunately, that's not always going to be the case. Something like, let's just go to sushi. What's the best chart? Binance? Yes, this looks like it will play out. Does that mean it has to play out? No. Is that a 7x from here? Sure. But you could be sitting in this for another year at 150. Is this a tradable setup, right? It doesn't really matter what happens. It just, to me, it matters is this a tradable setup? I don't care if I'm right or wrong. It's very tradable. But as we get down the list of stuff, we have to think about more risks, Will the government go after DeFi in 2024, US government? I think they'll try. Is that going to hurt sushi? Probably. Is that going to mess up a long trade? Probably. Should I be worried about that if I'm just trading the TA? No. But something to think about. Yeah, this is a great setup, right? Definitely something to watch. And if anything, you can just set an alert for, we'll be generous. We'll say 134. This is a chart where I'd be mad at myself if I missed it because it's so obvious. But there's no guarantee, right? So yeah, it looks great. But be prepared to sit in this thing for another year, right? Get comfy, okay? Don't become a community member, but get comfy if you're trading that setup. Uni, because the entirety of the ETH ecosystem is kind of woken up, looks great. It's great for sushi as a setup if Uni is moving, if Aave is moving, if SNX is moving. That's great for the entire ecosystem. For sure, don't get me wrong. So, kind of using the breakout trade mentality, if you are confident that this is a tradable setup, it makes sense, blah, 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 right? There's nothing stopping you from just starting to accumulate, starting to nibble, whatever you want to do, right? You trade your book. But, yeah, I wouldn't be afraid about being wrong here. If there was any time to buy this based on the cloud, it's now and a year from now, right? Any time before we get into the cloud, if we're in the cloud, at the bottom of the cloud, right? Even Uni, I love buying strength. I'm not going to touch Uni, but the chart looks great, undeniably. Something I was talking about on the videos yesterday is a lot of these charts are kind of reaching their natural fib extension targets on the smaller mean reversion, not mean reversion, like double bottom attempts, right? They have this mega potential, but you may see some momentum slow down once it hits this Adam and Eve target, right? SNX kind of the same. Looks great. As I've said here on the chart already, it's in the ascending tri target, Anything after this would be continuation from a mean reversal perspective, not even a bull market yet. So this has tons of time. I like this at 315. That's how I would add to a position. I have some SNX as well. Put an alert on that at 315. Looks great. I'm expecting one day all these alerts to just get hit. My phone just blow up with 25 alerts because we're seeing like a crazy pullback across the board. But SNX looks good. Aave was up 25% yesterday. I don't know why. I don't care why. The cloud knew, right? We want to talk about market timing and how nobody can time the market, or these settings don't matter. Well, I don't care how you make money. I'm just saying, look, these settings work. Like they work. Anyway, this is another one. All these charts kind of look the same within the ETH ecosystem. Trying to think what else is on the list. Oh, Maker, right? SNX, Maker, Aave, what else? Balancer we can look at. Comp we can look at. This is Maker. Maker hit its target super early on the first reversal pattern. We'll call it reversal pattern, right? Still has not hit its mean reversion target fully from the bear market. So it's got that under its belt. Similar to Rune ran early, right? So I think it's less likely to continue running. At this point, any of the ETH ecosystem charts should run with ETH. So if ETH runs to 28, Lido should run, Op should run, ARB should run, Maker should run. You can even see kind of a inverted head and shoulders megaphone, ascending broadening wedge here. Or sorry, descending broadening wedge. Right? Let's just go to a different, let's go to Coinbase. I don't think this is a bearish pattern. Not that it matters, but I'm talking about this thing here, whatever this is. Anyway, all this stuff should run, right? What's up, Louis? Thanks for joining. So, I don't know where I was going with that, but collectively this stuff should run. We're seeing it. It's super bullish for ETH spot that ARB broke out of its ascending triangle, or sorry, OP broke out of its ascending triangle. ARB is following that, right? Lido as well. Lido is following that. Where's it at? Lido, right? Look at this chart or this candle on Lido over the past couple days. This is the ETH chart, right? It's the same chart. So the low time frame ETH stuff gives me hope. The ETH beta, I guess you can call it, gives me hope. ETH DeFi gives me hope. ETH ecosystem gives me hope for price. Balancer, I said, I know somebody asked me about Balancer the other day. Not one I'd thought about in a long time. Not even that these coins like don't need to exist for the most part. It's not even about that. It's not about the fundamentals of these coins. You know, what does Uni, the coin, do? I'll wait. You tell me what it does. It doesn't do anything. You know, I would avoid charts that look like this personally, that aren't quite strong enough, aren't quite weak enough. Maybe they're reversing. I don't know. That's not a great looking chart. Let's take a look at comp. Comp also looks good for a cloud entry. You know, let's say this stuff gets some magic RWA narrative and the government doesn't go after it in 2024. That would be super bullish. For Maker, for comp, that'd be great. Guess I'll put an alert here as well at 67 for comp. There's a cloud setup, right? Do I have any clue that this is going to play out? No. But if there's any time between the all-time high and present where this has a chance, it is within the next 6 months for sure, based on the cloud. What was another one? Curve. A lot of people always ask me about Curve. It's kind of like Balancer, right? It's got a massive target on its back at 374. So if you like Curve, go for it. You know, that would be my price target into 2025 probably. So if you want to hold that for that long, but that's no guarantee, right? Super early on that chart for sure. Any other? Oh, ETC. Yeah, lots of people were asking about this because I of all people am bullish for ETC. It's kind of embarrassing, but look, you tell me that chart doesn't look good. Tell me. Chart looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. And if this thing goes to 100 and I don't own any, I'm going to be very depressed. Something else I was thinking about. I was trying to figure out if ETC, yeah, so ETC still has a discount on the Grayscale product, a 30% discount. So maybe that's the real trade, right? I'm talking about ETC spot. Who cares, right? ETCG, you know, literally zero people are talking about this, okay? Zero, none. I've heard nobody bring this up. But like if you want an absolute hero trade, it's ETCG, okay? Thing has no reason to exist. It should not be bullish. But if we are truly bullish, yeah, I like 49 on ETCG. What is that? A 300% move. I don't know. That would be the wildest thing that's happened in a while because again, nobody's looking at this. Nobody. John, don't you put that evil on me. Look, I can't say this enough times. ETC should not exist. It has no reason to be traded, but it does, and we're here and we're doing it. At least I am. It looks great. I don't know what else to say. I wish it wasn't the case, but it is. Okay. I like 100. Anyway, that's ETC. All right, let's take a look at some of this other stuff. Let me scroll up real quick to see if you got anything else you want me to look at. Let me know. Options expiry making anyone else nervous? Asks Andrew. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of. I mean, we can look at that. What is the Deribit something? I think this is it. Deribit metrics. Let's go to options. So we do have some very large open interest closing at the end of the year on Deribit. I thought there was like a special expiration in January. I thought it saw a lot more volume, but maybe not. Anyway, so yeah, that's a massive open interest rollover. And that may be why we're kind of doing a bunch of nothing into that. A lot of times these quarterly price moves, these quarterly chill out periods kind of line up with the futures or options rollover, right? What is this? Strike price of 50K. So it looks like 50K is where most of the money thinks we might go. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of interest. There's a lot of open interest globally. You know, if we go back to this, something a lot of people are rightfully concerned about is, let's go to BTC, I guess. I don't know. You can look at this both ways. BTC denominated, USD denominated, open interest quite high. Most of this is CME, which is maybe a good thing relative to like the crypto native side. But we'll see if, you know, is this like super crowded, mega overbought on the open interest side? I don't know. We'll see. You know, it's a different market structure than it was in 2020, in 2021, in 2017. It's different. I'm not saying it's not concerning, because it is, but it makes sense that open interest is where it's at, to me. People are trading the news event, or getting positioned for that news event. That's how I would read that. Yeah, Maskey asked about DCA. You know, this is dependent on your own personal journey. Back in 2014, 15, it was just paycheck DCA, right? Every 2 weeks. Throw in what you can. And that's that. You know, that's the best you can do, right? So what else are you going to do? You know, I love DCAs here. I love DCAs from here to zero. Look, the bull market hasn't started. If you're truly here for the bull market, then what are you worried about? You know, I personally have no concern about DCAs, even up here. Even up here. Alex asked me about backtesting and statistical analysis. I haven't-ish. Some of it has been backtested. You know, Nomad has backtested the cloud and has said it didn't backtest well. But it kind of depends on what you are looking at and how you are feeding in like the long short criteria. So it depends. The cloud with Williams fractals actually backtests pretty well, I think, as far as the trailing stop loss. So I don't have hard data on that. It just feels like a lived experience at this point. You know, the number of people talking about edge-to-edge trades alone is kind of interesting to me. Yeah, people keep asking about. I find to be the strangest. Already getting an alert on comp. Thanks, guys. STG. I mean, what do you expect? You know, it's in a range. A 50% move would be 85. It's out of its like falling wedge puke phase. I think part of it is people are kind of trapped in positions and they're kind of nervous watching all this other stuff pop off. You just have to have conviction and be happy about what you're in, you know, or be the rotator, not like live in both limbo on the river of Styx, being worried about everything. Where am I at relative to my portfolio? It looks fine. it's ETH, right? Or it's, I guess, ETH adjacent. So I don't know, you know, it should do well in a bull market. That would make sense to me. Looks okay. Mempool. Yeah, we can talk about the mempool. Back to the ordinal stuff, I guess, for a second. We can look at the number of pending transactions. Currently, the number of pending is less than it was in September. The fees pending look to be much higher, right, than September. So it depends on what people are doing, what they're minting on the chain relative to the ordinal stuff. It's not always about the quantity, relative to the fees. These fees are insane, right? If we look at all time, the fees have been higher in 2017, 2018. As far as fees waiting to be collected by the miners, if we look at the unconfirmed transaction count, it has never been higher, I believe, than this year in September. The blue color here tells you that almost all of these transactions as a percentage were basically, you can see it. I don't know if you can see it because my face is in the way, but almost all of those were sub 10 sat? Is that right? Sat, yeah, sub 10 sat per V-byte transaction. So they were meaningless in a sense that they had no fee attached to them. So of course the priority fee transactions got approved, whereas this little piddly stuff only cleared when all of the other priority stuff cleared. But now we're seeing stuff with massive fees that isn't getting cleared, right? Not yet. So to me, the current picture is much different than just, basically spam transactions on the network. Both help the miners, but slightly different in their makeup a little bit. Definitely something to watch. Talked about MSTR, ICP. I think I talked about that yesterday, right? I mean, some of these alts aren't going to move for another year. Sorry. I mean, that's just the way it is, right? TIA. Yeah, that's a good question. What does TIA look like? Came on hot, right? Came on super, super hot. Not even enough data yet to really look at it. So I think I was marking off a head and shoulders there. This chart reminds me of Rune. What is the... kind of the same, but not really. Anyway, this doesn't look like a happy chart to me. Sorry, whoever asked. But this is how people get trapped and become a community member. This thing's listed for less than 2 months. It's going to trap a lot of people, has trapped a lot of people probably already. It's done really well, but people tend to get impatient and they rotate at a loss into something else that's hot and new, and then they rotate at a loss again, and the cycle continues. So I would watch this thing sub 10. That's where I think the trade is. I don't think there's anything to trade up here just yet. This looks like a double-headed head and shoulders. All right, I think I'm caught up with that mostly. Yeah, we'll take a look at Engine. Zcash, all in pod and Raul Paul. Shilling sold made me dump all of it for my... Wait, made me dumped all of my stack for ETH. Okay, good. Yeah, usually when we get to the public participation phase, right, the bonk phone. People talking about bonk who've never touched crypto in their life. Celebrities or influencers talking about Solana again, right? That's usually a sign. I'm not saying Solana has to go to 0 from here. I'm just saying, look, that's usually probably the top of something, right? Top of something. FBTD super chat asking for TET. Let's take a look at it. What was I going to look at first? Oh, Zcash. You know, I just really hope the people asking me about Zcash are not the people who have literally been sitting in this thing for years. I really hope that's not the case, because they have lost so much money at this point. They have lost so much money. I mean, look, this is literally the chart of all charts for the community members. Right? At what point on this chart would you be happy with a retrace? I don't even know, relative to BTC. This just made a new all-time low a couple days ago. I wouldn't touch this thing, ever. I just wouldn't. It's been down only for 5 years. Yeah. I don't like the chart. I don't like the Zuku. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but it certainly is not a bullish chart. That's all you can really say. On the USD side, well, I guess I have to go to Poloniex. Yeah, with these wicks on Poloniex, man. Like, here's a relative value question. Would you rather be trading this or the ETH ecosystem, the Solana ecosystem, other layer ones? I just think it's funny that Zcash is in the mind share of so many people still. I don't know. Is there a trade here on the USD pair? Probably yes, right? This is probably some sort of ascending triangle. It's out of that super bearish channel. It has a bullish TK cross. I don't think that trade triggers until mid next year. But sure, there could be a trade here. There could be a trade here. That doesn't mean I should. If it were me, would I continue to hold this thing? I mean, if you've been in it for 13 years, why not, right? I don't know. I fear for those people. It's the same thing with the LTC crowd. Sorry, Jack. Close your ears if you're still here. Just this chart, beside that wick, was a new all-time low last week or the week before. It's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What do you expect? You're going to get a mean reversion out of this, maybe, and then it's going to be more down. That's just how it is. Anyway, we can go down the list. Look at all the Dino coins. EOS. Is there a trade here? Maybe. But, I think it's going to take some time. But there's probably a trade here. Is it worth it? Probably not. Is it worth it to think about it? Probably not. Yeah, sorry. Look, LTC on the USD pair. People love to look at USD pairs and ignore the BTC pair. It has a great support diag that it's sat on since 2017, right? This is like the SegWit Coinbase listing or something in 2017. Is there a trade here? Probably. But not now. Not now. Again, let's look at the Bitcoin halving stuff. LTC does best after the halving, and the halving isn't until April. There could be 35 other better trades between now and April. So, I think you just have to set some expectations a little bit. All right, TET. What is you gotta let me know what this even is. You gotta inform the class. FBTD. What is this thing? I've noticed there's a whole like cottage industry of offshore exchanges that are listing coins that you can't get anywhere else. I think that's going to continue to bifurcate in 2024, and you're going to have an entire ecosystem of stuff like this on exchanges like BitGet or MEXC or whatever the flavor of the week exchanges that are just completely decoupled from everything because it's just different people. You know, it's a completely different ecosystem. What do I even want to say about this? So you had, what did you have? Some sort of, what is that? I always forget. Megaphone, let's call it. You had your megaphone pattern. It's hit its target, I think, from the consolidation. Is it topped? What's the best hope on target? Okay. Does even have one more leg. I love it. I don't have a great answer for you, honestly. Again, I just think there are better things to trade, right? This is up conservatively 500%. I think there's better stuff to trade. This is a 10x from the bottom. Right? Am I wrong? Am I crazy? I just think there's better stuff to trade. I think you'd want to see this reconsolidate and see what happens up here, but I wouldn't expect continuation just yet before a reconsolidation. I don't know. That's my take. It's my hot take. Thanks, Amin. Yeah, give me a like or whatever you guys want to do. If you're still here, 141 of you dedicated traders. Tet, he bought it at 14.20. Okay, I like buying strength. I like buying the breakout. That's my MO. So I like that. If it were me and I saw this, I would consider rotating into something else, or you know, just anything else because it's already up. So you're at this point, if you're still in charts like this, right? Like Bonk, Coin, you can go on and on. Anything that's up 300% plus, you're fighting all those people as they're taking profit. Not only is it up 500%, but it's up 500% in 2 months. So you're fighting that. What does VPVR look like? So you had a lot of people probably taking profit in the 10 to 12 range. I don't know. It's a probability thing, right? Can it keep going? Sure. Is it going to be harder to keep going? Probably. And then you kind of lean on maybe the fundamental side more. There's just not a lot of trading data here. Yeah, Jack, like where do we put the fib extensions, right? There was a random wick to 69. Like this fib extension as well, you've already hit. If I guess, you know, maybe we wick or we fib extension from the wick. I just, you know, I feel like you can't expect much more from this in the near term without some sort of consolidation. That's all. Certainly looks like somebody's been selling above 26 based on those wicks, but I would just be careful with charts that look like this on that exchange with this amount of data trading. Just be careful for sure. To me, the targets have been hit in the near term for this one at 20 plus at this point. Sorry, I don't have the best news for you. You're in profit, right? It's a new coin. Yeah, okay, it's a new coin, but who are the VCs that bought this? Why did this get listed on this exchange at this time? What is the future for this product? I don't know the answer to those questions, you know? So obviously do your own research, but this is just a lesson for anything that looks like this. I mean, maybe we, is there a pitchfork here? I don't think so. I don't know. There's just not enough stuff here yet for me to really be positive on the outlook at the moment. Okay, let's move on. STX. Yeah, STX, also Bitcoin ecosystem coin. Sailor gave it a shout out on some podcast the other day. It went bananas. It hit the edge-to-edge target almost exactly. So at this point, when you're still in the weekly cloud, as you are with most everything right now, you could go back down to 75. You could get denied again at 180. Like, the trade has happened, right? That isn't to say this can't go to 10, right? Because it can. But the cloud is just telling you, like, that was the target. Maybe you want to measure this. Let's take off the cloud and say, you know what? Cloud, thank you for your service. But we got bigger fish to fry in price discovery, boys. Maybe this is some sort of, you know, head and shoulders thing that you can fib somewhere to get a target later on. Retracing to the neckline and then making a journey up there would make sense to me. Yeah, Coinbase listings, generally the kiss of death, for sure. yeah, we're shitcoining on Bitcoin. What a time to be alive. It's literally come full circle with ordinals, with stacks, TET apparently. Engine. Does this have a better chart here, maybe? Okay. Now we're getting to the point in the program where all the charts kind of look the same. Same thing, right? You know, you can see AVAX on this chart. You can see ADA on this chart. Is it early to expect the edge to edge? I think it's a little early, but look at, where's AVAX? Where'd I put it? Is it not on my list? Oh, there it is. AVAX on Binance, right? Like, I don't think coins that far down the market cap list are going to overperform early like AVAX did. I think this is done, by the way, as well, in the moment, much like Solana. Same type of crowd probably trading both coins anyway. I like 30 as a pullback for AVAX, but just because AVAX did it doesn't mean something like Engine can do it. It could, but I wouldn't expect that. So yeah, it looks good. The setup looks good. It's tradable. You know, it's back to the same thing we've been talking about, but it's a little early, I think, on that one. You can measure this, get like an interim target. Just looking at whatever this channel thing is. You know, this was even on Solana before the breakout months and months ago. So these charts have hope for sure. I'm trying to think, is it Neo? Sorry, wrong exchange. Yeah, Neo, kind of the same thing, right? Like, sure, why not? Run all this stuff up. I don't know. It's at a range low. It's got a double bottom. It's in the weekly cloud. Very tradable. I'm not going to touch it, but it's very tradable. INJ, let's just knock some of these out real quick. INJ on the 8 hour looks kind of sad. Most of these have just, you know, look, they're up. What are they up year to date? what is INJ up year to date in price discovery? Like how much more do you want in the moment, right? 2,000% on the year, peaked at 33,000%, 3,300%. Thanks, Builder. Yeah, Happy New Year's Eve-ish to everybody. Just, what more do you want right now? That's the question. It's just up so much. Not that anybody asked me about INJ, but IMX, kind of in a similar boat. Not in price discovery, but double bottom. Similar thing, right? Straight up is going to retrace inevitably. Filecoin, something that I bought after last stream, looks fine, right? This is like the ETC chart. It's been down only, double bottom. If this goes to 60 plus, I'm gonna hate myself. So yeah, that's why I bought some. Doge, same thing, right? Go to the weekly, double bottom, multiple double bottoms, that's about as far as I go with the analysis on any of that. It's just, yeah, it looks like it could happen. Sure. Why not? Let's rotate into some of this stuff. I would rather take a punt on any of the charts that look like this, Filecoin, ETC, SNX, Aave, right? Uni, Sushi, than sit in anything that's at all-time highs or at its cloud weekly target, hoping for more. Bitcoin being the only exception to that rule. I haven't talked about Bitcoin yet. I don't think I have. We're almost an hour and a half in. Bitcoin is the only thing, because of the news catalyst, that I would want to sit in here that's made a move like this already. Even expecting more at this point is risky, because we've hit the target, right? We've hit the mean reversion target. The next step is to repair the cloud, figure out a trend situation down the road. We have, let me go to a different chart. We've never made it above the 618 in a pre-halving year of the bear market, right? It's never happened. So to me, 48-ish is a logical ETF day wick target at the very least. If things get crazy, 60. But what percentage is that? 40% on the day. I don't know about that. That would probably be the best day ever in Bitcoin's history. 15% on the day is more in the wheelhouse, but also crazy. Oh, sorry, week. Maybe 40% on the week. I don't know. Yeah, I agree, Jack. I mean, anybody who, I bought a bunch at 23, 24. I mean, it goes back to what I've been saying. How much more do you really want? Sorry, I'm not trying to clear my throat into the mic. How much more do you really want in the near term? I'm not talking about the cycle. I'm not talking about the bull market. It's just, this thing has been running so hot. And that's the best asset in the world, Bitcoin. Up 175% from the bottom. I would just be careful about getting trapped on any breakout in January. Where would I want to see this retrace? 30. If things get ugly, I think we go to 30, but not necessarily on a day, not necessarily quickly, maybe throughout Q1. The weekly candlesticks look great up here. We're consolidating, right? We're making some sort of triangle. We're holding above the weekly cloud. It's just unrealistic, I think, to expect full-blown all-time high continuation all the way up here. But the chart looks good on most time frames. We still look good. We're above the daily. We're above the 12-hour. We're above the 8-hour. We did lose a bunch of momentum up here. So the TK lines are kind of crossing over. As long as we're above the 8-hour, I think this is okay. The daily fractals would be the other thing to watch. Currently absolutely have been on the money as far as a trailing stop loss. And I'm talking about this. So right now your trailing stop loss on the breakout from 28 is 41.6. Your re-entry on the key June is at 40. I just get nervous, right? Like, are we actually going to bounce at 40? I don't know. We'll see, right? We've rode this low time frame moving average, as most coins have, for a while now. What I'm really worried about going into Q1 is this potential, from 40 to 35. I think that is going to be an actual short trade setup that will present itself at some point. Yeah, Sailor announced a buy, but he's going to keep buying. I mean, he's not done. Tether's not done. Yeah, Jack makes a good point about the yearly pivots. We may see, we'll see what the yearly pivots print, but we may see a yearly pivot down there at 30. Whatever the yearly pivot ends up being will probably be where we go. It's currently, what is it? Currently it's at 26.7. 30 would make a lot of sense to me. We don't have to stay down there, but, look, things could get very wild in Q1 with all the new stuff coming. But for the moment, we look okay. 41.6 is for sure the level to be nervous. And if you're DCAing in, if you are looking to buy, right, you're hoping for a pullback to 30. So I wouldn't get nervous. Again, this is all just like mean reversion foreplay stuff. This isn't bull trend stuff, realistically. Claude's done great though on the daily, for sure. What else do I want to talk about? BTC, anything? I think Coinbase, is this the chart? No. This one? This one. Oh, that's the other thing. The pitchfork. We're at the top of the pitchfork. I know everyone hates the pitchfork, but another reason to slow down up here. Where was it? I drew some stuff somewhere. Don't know what that is. Can't find it. There it is. So we've got maybe an ascending triangle. We're trying to survive up here. And, do we fill this in up until the ETF day, pop to 48, and then like send it, send it capo style to 30 or whatever? That would be, that's going to be a true test in January. What do we look like? Right now, this leans bullish to me. At least it looks like it leans bullish. But where does this go on ETF day, ETF week, ETF month? When did the ETF start trading? When does GOX coins get released? GBTC coins, blah, 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 right? For the ETF people, the ETF entrants, it's super bullish for them if we retrace a bunch too. So, Alicanos, everybody hates the pitchfork. Everybody. There is no second best, right? There's no second best. What else we want to talk about? Tezos. Somebody keeps asking me about Tezos. This is like back to the sad dinosaur coins conversation. There's a trade here. Again, like I shouldn't laugh. There's a trade here, right? I think it's a little early, but there's a trade here. There's a 5x still, right? Don't hate it. I don't hate it. ADA as well. ADA still looks good to me up here. I would love to get more at 45 or less, but it looks fine. That's also a mega move. Link looks fine to me as well. You know, like we're just kind of chilling. We're just kind of chilling in the pool, right? They screwed up the PayPal with Mt. Gox. Did they really? I haven't seen that. Anyway, back to Tezos. This is the problem, right? The problem is the BTC pair. Will this get a mean reversion? Maybe. I just think there's better stuff to trade. That's all. I expect all these alts to get slaughtered on the ETF day, ETF week, and then maybe repair. But, you know, the low time frames on this, Adam and Evie, you're above the daily cloud for the first time since 2022. I just think there's better stuff to trade. Back to the privacy coin stuff. Binance is apparently going to be delisting Monero, which the Monero people can say doesn't matter. Sadly, it does matter because if nobody can buy this thing, it's less likely to go up in value. That's just the way it is. And again, there are just better trades. Better trades out there. So the chart looks okay. The fundamentals are great. I love the chain. It's just there are better things to trade. Yeah, let's look at Ordi. Ordi, let's go Binance. Nope. Ordi. This is like Bonk. If Bonk kept going, right? Again, it depends on what people are doing with ordinals right now, probably. I don't think this has a use case in the NFT ecosystem. I could be wrong. To me, this has hit fib extension targets and then some. It's reconsolidating higher, but you know, like look, year to date, what is it up? Sorry, percentage wise, it's some crazy percent, right? Yeah, 250-ish. It's up 1,000% in a couple months. I just don't know, you know, how much more honestly is in this, right? Right now. I'm not saying it can't have a run down the road, but right now I don't know. It looks strong, I'll give you that. You can also tilt your head. Maybe there's some sort of like channel here. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up now, but so maybe you watch that diagonal support and you just let it rip. Let it keep ripping until then. I would just get very nervous with all this meme stuff because when we actually pull back, it's going to get brutal. All right, let me run through. I have a list. I'll just run through these real quick. Wow, this has been on Coinbase this long? Never heard of this coin. Rose. Again. It's up 1 billion%. Looked bottomy, triple bottomy. Looks great. I just don't know how much more is in that right now. Turbo. Same thing. Triple bottom, broke out. Probably Adam and Evie, inverted Adam Evie on low time frames. Does not look happy on low time frames. Algo on the weekly, I think, also has a pretty insane setup here. I think an alert at like 27 cents probably makes sense. 28. We'll do 26. How about that? Just for the edge-to-edge situation. But this is a mega. This is a 500% run. We'll see what happens, but yeah, definitely something to watch down the road. What is this comp thing that was triggering? I have no idea. So yeah, I like algo over, charts that are in the stratosphere already. QNT. Let me find a real chart. I guess that's as good as we're gonna get. Kind of rangy. I don't really have an opinion here. It's had a decent move. At this point, I think you're holding alts for 2 years, 1 year. Let's say 1 year. Well, you're holding an alt for a 1 year, or you're taking profit on anything that's up 500%. I think it's that simple, at least for me. Beam on the old offshore exchange. It's an offshore exchange special here. Hit the weekly cloud, pulled back violently. Was up 1,000% from the bottom. Again, you're either taking profit or you're holding for a long time. MNT, mantle. KuCoin? I gotta start asking people for exchanges for this stuff. I'm just not familiar enough. That's all we have. I mean, that doesn't look normal, that whatever that chart or price action is on the downside. Gate. The fact that this is only listed on the worst of the worst exchanges gives me pause already, but looks okay, looks strong. Maybe inverted Adam and Eve, maybe, sorry, not inverted, inverted head and shoulders, kind of triple bottomy, kind of like ETH. Maybe this is an ETH ecosystem coin. I don't know. I don't know. Looks okay up here. Looks better than some of this other stuff that's pulled back, right? Prime. But that looks okay for continuation. MNT. Prime. This looks like, what did I say about this last week? Somebody asked me. This looks like a rising wedge up here. Definitely have a bear div on RSI. I'd be careful up here. I'm trying to find the cloud. Where'd it go? Yeah, still bullish, but I'd just be careful with the rising wedge bear div stuff up here. IMX we looked at. Ronin. What is Ronin? Ron? Classic. Mex C special. That chart. What is that percentage? 400%? Yeah, it's in price discovery. Could keep going. It's just, what you have to ask yourself, what is your target? Where did you get in? What is your target? How long do you want to hold this thing? I don't know who asked me this. The chart looks great, but I would just get nervous because the downside here is substantial, right? Especially on these offshore exchanges. Once the waterfall starts, it tends to keep going. Yeah, Joey, exactly. Can it go to 1 billion and 1%? 1 inch. Someone just asked me about. Is that the actual ticker? I think it is, right? It's a ETH DEX. This probably looks okay on the weekly cloud, yeah. Like Unis is going to move first. It's the biggest DEX. That makes sense. Then maybe Sushi. Then maybe 1 inch, right? So you can rotate. Yeah, this is like the dream. Rotate between all these over time. slowly as the charts start to look better. That'd be my guess as to what happens down the road. Quick. Oh man. Oh no. What happened here? What happened here? Sir. Turtles forever. What the heck is this? Was this like a split or something? Man, that is an ugly chart. I would not touch this. Don't care what it is. I don't care if it cures cancer. No thanks. I don't know what happened there. Oh, Mr. Beast, meme coin. No, sorry. I don't know what that is. Not for me. Someone asked about FTT. Sure, why not? It's something I wouldn't touch. Yeah, that did happen quick, Joey. I wouldn't touch this. It's got news on its side. If they relaunched FTX 2.0, why? Yeah, Jack, I agree. FTT looks better than Quick. I don't know. Yeah, not for me. Not for me. FTM, on the other hand, looks okay. Kind of double bottomy. Cloud weekly coming up here. Looks okay, right? Doesn't look horrible. Isn't pushing all-time highs at 10,000%. Probably sees a pullback with everything else in January. But down the road, sure, looks okay. Maker, we talked about Kanto. Kanto, is that like is that a gaming token? You can tell we're getting towards the end here. As things get more and more MEXC related. Ranging, top of the range. Just, how much more do you expect, right? We can say, here's the top, here's the bottom. This is what the fibs look like. It hit the 50% retrace on fibs at 44. Price discovery would be 130 to 160. So it just depends how long you want to sit in this thing. There's also some sort of megaphone going on, or whatever this is. So I would watch that. Claude doesn't hate it on the daily. Doesn't look horrible. It's just, kind of hit its 50% move already. What's up, Tiga? Yeah, on FTM, that W is for sure there. KDA. This is a exchange coin, I think, right? I always forget. I mean, it looks like we talked about it at some point with that Head and Shoulders. It broke out way past its target. I don't know how much more you could expect up here. Looks kind of angry on low time frames. Not something I'd be holding on to. You could even see a little mini inverted Head and Shoulders here. But yeah, it does not look happy on low time frames. Way past its target. All right, got a few more. ARB, we talked about scale. This was a Doppel question. Similar to FTM, similar to a lot of these exchange tokens. W for sure, mega multi-month. Looks okay, right? It's just, how long do you want to sit in this? What do you want to take on the drawdown? Do you want to add at the breakout point at 54? But it looks good. Looks good potentially to 26. What is that? 300% from a potential pullback. I don't know. Looks okay. Looks okay. For sure. I'd rather trade that than some of this other stuff. HFT. Never heard of this. Is there a better chart? I guess that's it. Maybe a diagonal Lykoff? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Like, it's clearly turned around on the bullish side. Daily cloud looks good. I don't know. I have no clue what that is. Thanks, Masky. Yeah. A few more here, then we'll finish up. Filecoin we did, ICP. All right, this is the last one. And then if you got any other last requests, let me know. ICP, not to be confused with the insane clown posse. It looks fine. It's consolidating in a bullish fashion. It has that, downward channel that it broke out of. It's in the weekly cloud. It looks okay. I wouldn't expect 1600. Whatever this price was, I don't think that ever happens again. 32. Somebody paid 3,200 USD per token when this launched. They are still down 99%. Oh, yikes. That's sad, but super funny. Yeah, looks okay, right? It looks like Aave, it looks like SNX. That's the beauty of the cloud. It's tells you where you're at in a trend cycle, right? It's in its reversal potential stage up here. How accurate is that edge to edge? Well, I think on the higher market cap coins, it is extremely accurate. On the weekly, it is, I'd say on Bitcoin, I'd say it's 100% hit rate, which is why I'm always screaming about these when they start to happen, because they're typically very successful. On the lower cap stuff, I would be careful. Not everything is going to play out. Not all of these are going to play out. Some of these will just be dead forever. So you got to be careful of that. But on equities like Square, probably plays out. You have to go to the... I use two different clouds, but anyway, you go to the equity cloud, look at Square, look at Hood, look at Marathon, look at Ethy, right? I think those have a super high chance of playing out eventually. If you look at stuff like Zcash, right? EOS, I would be a little bit more nervous about those playing out. It could happen. It's just the odds are better on the bigger stuff, in my opinion. All right, Zen, AKT, Nervous. Those will be the last three. Zen. Not to be confused with Zin. Could you imagine if Zin had a coin? Could you imagine? Yeah, this chart doesn't look horrible. I don't hate it. Some sort of bottom attempt down here, right? Cloud likes it on the 3-day. 50% retrace would be 71. I don't know. I don't know if it has a 7x in it, but looks good. I like where it sits down here. The tough part is the people asking me this stuff, I'm assuming they're sitting in it from like 40, right? I don't know if that's you, person who asked me, but obviously the entries down here are better than 40. AKT. What did we talk about here? Cup and handle? Looks like. Also looks like it hit its target on the cup and handle. And this, this is classic, like, not exactly Wyckoff, but close enough. It's like, we'll call it cycle behavior. Accumulation at the bottom, whether that's strictly Wyckoff or inverted head and shoulders, then you have a markup, sign of strength, continuation phase, reconsolidation. We had another reconsolidation. And so now we're to the point where, okay, are we going to get another reconsolidation up here? Or are we going to get a mean reversion pullback attempt? So I would be careful with this at this point all the way up here. There's a bear div on that. Because it's hit its successive reconsolidation targets, but now it needs to reconsolidate again. So I would be careful up here, because it's in this limbo between price discovery versus reconsolidate and wait situation. What's up, John? You're welcome. What was the last one? Nervos, SNT, and BSV. Okay, those are the last ones. SNT. Oh, man. At this point, I think Coinbase has more coins that I've never heard of than coins that I have heard of. So this kind of looks like every other chart we've looked at today, right? It's had some downtrend consolidation, broke way up. Now it's in like chart repair mode. Is this going to be a double bottom? It could, but look at the maker chart, right? Maker, almost the exact same thing. The meat of the move has happened, and now it's trying to figure out the next stage. Is this going to be reconsolidate and wait? Is it going to be bullish continuation? Is it going to be mean reversion? People rotating through all these chains or coins, they're probably not sitting in SNT or Maker expecting continuation necessarily, right? Though, yeah, I'd be careful. I'd be careful with that one. All right. Oh, man, is this the CKB? Sorry, yeah, he did say that. CKB USD. Let's take a look. Kind of the same thing. Right off the bat, right? Not quite to the horizontal. What does the cloud say? Yeah, cloud basically says the same. It looks almost ready, but that could be 6 months, right? That could be a long time. Looks okay. Last one, because I actually hate myself, BSV. Somebody said that BSV was actually up more on the year than ETH. I was trying to find an exchange. Is there an exchange that has more price history? I guess that's probably all the price history, right? Yeah, I think a lot of exchanges. Yeah, okay. This is a lot of the exchanges delisted it, I think. Whatever this is, crypto.com. Look, I'm not saying the cloud is perfect. I'm not saying the cloud is the best indicator that exists, but what I am saying is it's really good at giving you perfect entries on mean reversion trades, okay? This is a great example. This thing, again, much like ETC, no reason to exist, is a complete scam. And where did it decide to make a real move? In the weekly cloud. I rest my case. I don't know if this thing keeps going. I don't know what drives this. There's like 5 people who trade this. I would just be really careful. There's whales that you've never even heard of probably holding this thing that are just waiting. So I'd be careful expecting anything more from this. Okay, year to date, just because it's funny. Do I have ETH on here? There it is. Year to date. Wow, it's true. BSV is up more year to date than ETH. Would you look at that? Hilarious. Let me just look at this too. BSV, BTC. I guess we'll have to do BSV divided by. Right? I mean, this is why you don't become a community member. On a scam coin, there's the linear chart. That's why we Bitcoin, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. That is why we Bitcoin. That's all for this one. That's a great place to end. Chart looks disgustingly terrible. I hope it goes to 0. Unfortunately, the cloud likes it, and that's just the way we have to roll sometimes. Never forget, in 2018, I met a BCH maxi IRL. Broke bread with the man, sat down with him, and he was convinced, absolutely convinced, that BCH was the coin. Bitcoin was going to go to 0. Wonder where he's doing. Wonder what he's doing right now. Hope he's okay. But yeah, these scam forks are not the move, Chief. Not the move. There's no second best. What can you say? All right, that's all for this one. We have New Year's Eve, New Year's Day on Sunday, Monday again. So probably a video Monday. I think Ledger and I are recording tomorrow. I think it'll be our year. I'll see what I think he's around tomorrow. So that'll probably be my last content piece for the year, and then I'll be back Monday on this very YouTube channel. Thanks, Tigga. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. All the questions, interactions, like whatever else. And I'll see you in 2024. Have a good one. Have a safe and happy New Year's. Joey, yes, I'll see you tomorrow if Ledger is around to record. All right, take care.